Hi, welcome to Train Signal. My name is Bill and this lesson is Working with Sites. In this lesson we're going to go ahead and examine a little bit more closely a team site. We're going to look at the Global Manatics operations team site that we created, a few lessons back. So far in the course we've spent a lot of time going through how to get everything set up, how to get everything up and running, how to create these team sites. We configured our search, we did our user profile, our email. But we haven't really spent any time actually working with the site. And that's what we're going to do in this lesson. We're going to show you around the site, show you where things are, how you can find things. We'll show you the site contents, take you to the site settings where you can see all of the administration settings that you can access. We won't go through everything because that's really another course for another time. But I want you to be familiar with the interface and know where things are, so that when you have your site and you're playing around with it, you don't have to say, where is this? Bill didn't show me where to go ahead and find how to get to this administration setting. I'm going to show you all of that. Basic, simple stuff, just to kind of get our feet wet and get a feel for the things we can do with our sites. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. Alright, we're starting right from our browser, and we're using IE10, and I already have this bookmarked. We're going to go to our operations team site, and it starts, of course, we have to sign in. We have to give it our credentials. And I'm doing this because I want you to see the very first time that you go to a site. It may take a little time for it to, you saw the little working on it and the little spinning dots there. It may take a little time for it to go ahead and sign in and make that connection and render the site for us for the first time. So here we are. Here is our Global Manatics operations team site right out of the box. Nothing has been added. I haven't done anything on this site. It's all here. It's all fresh, brand new. And this is what it's going to look like by default. Now we're going to start, first of all, with these things. These are the different features that we can go ahead and use on our team site. These are the things that come by default. And they're basically apps. This is how we refer to these things now. You're using an app to create or access these different features of our SharePoint site. For example, the one that my pointer is on right now is to go ahead and create a new task list. And then this one here, add lists, libraries, and other apps. Change your style. Brand your site by adding a logo and a description. And sharing your site, going ahead and connecting other people to your site. And these are just shortcuts to other places, quite honestly. And you'll see here this option to remove this. It'll take these tiles off of here for you so that you have a much cleaner look to your site. And notice when we do that, we get this message that says the Getting Started tasks are available from the Settings menu at any time. And we'll go ahead and we'll look at that in just a minute. But now, once we've gotten those apps out of the way, this is what our site looks like. And I know it's pretty stark, it's pretty bland, there's nothing here, but it's because we haven't done anything. And over time, of course, our SharePoint sites grow and become more organic, and there's going to be more and more things, more information added to this page. And it all depends on what you want, what kind of features you want to add to your site. And you can even have branding. You can change the theme on your own out of the box. There's several themes, and I'll show you those in just a few minutes. Or if you have a developer, designer, they can come and customize and brand your entire site, your look and feel and everything. And I see some really amazing things done with SharePoint. So it's up to you and your requirements. All right, let's start over here on the left. This is our quick launch. And you see we have 3 links right now. Home, which is where we are. Documents, which is going to take us over here, actually, to the Documents library. Now, this library, this document library, is already here. It's part of the team site. It is probably the most popular SharePoint feature, and it's just a document library. And we saw a little bit of this when we were working with our email. But this allows us to go ahead and add documents, have a place, a shared space for all of our documents for, in this case, our operations team. Site contents, if I click there, this is going to go ahead and take me to all of the features of our team site that have been added. Now in this case, these are the things that are here by default. And you can see our document library. We have a microfeed, which let me go ahead and click on that. That's a My Site microfeed persistent storage list. And we'll deal more with this when we talk about My Sites. Site pages, and there are only 2, but you can go ahead and access the settings for each individual page. And you can even remove this library from your site. I want you to notice the icons because these are significant. These are all libraries. It's this little folder. It's just libraries with different properties, making it a specific type of library. This was our document library, but now this one over here is a library of form templates, and there aren't any there. But if you created templates for forms, that's where you'd want to put them. Site assets library and a style library. And the style library already has some things in it. And they're just informational videos. I can use my back button on my browser to go ahead and get back to where we were. Now down here at the bottom, it allows me to create a new subsite. And we talked about subsites way back, oh gosh, I think that was in lesson 4 or 5. But if you have the ability, the permission to go ahead and add a subsite, you can do it right here at the same time you would add lists, libraries, and other exciting things. Now, like I said, these are the libraries and lists that are already part of our site. But if there's one in here that you don't see that you want, if there's something that you need that isn't already here, you go to this link, add an app, and it'll bring you to this page. And actually there are more. There's 2 pages worth of apps. That'll give you many, many more out-of-the-box options of apps that you can go ahead and add to your SharePoint site. And you'll see some of these we already have. Document library, form library, but there's also contacts, calendars, picture libraries, wiki page libraries, a page for links, announcements, discussion boards, issue tracking, surveys, etc. And these apps will be added to your site simply by selecting them. And you'll notice up here at the top, noteworthy, and there are 3, document library, custom list, and tasks. And this is what I told you a few minutes ago. These are the 3 most popular. They're probably the most common, the most used apps for your SharePoint. And these are the 3 we're going to work with today. But let's go ahead and let's get back. And this up here, this is a link also back to our home page. Now up here at the top, you'll see we have a page tab. And when I click that, it just gives me the ribbon and allows me to go ahead and do things to this particular page. You can edit the page. You can check it out, which is a way of keeping other people from being able to edit this page. You can go ahead and email a link to this page. You can set up alerts. We already saw how to do that. You can make a particular page the home page for your site. And we've already seen the library settings when we were setting up our email. This is going to let us get to this page for a particular library or list. So lots of really neat features, very easy to use, and very easy to access. Now also from this ribbon, let's go ahead here, we have the ability, if we click on edit, to open up this page and edit it, we have the ability, yes, to go ahead and edit text and layout. You see a lot of tools in here that you probably recognize from Microsoft Word. But we also have the ability here on the Insert tab to add things like pictures, audio, and video, tables. But the really cool part is the Add App parts. This is where I could go ahead and add things like a document library, a form library, microfeed, all kinds of things, extra pages to the different sections of this individual page. We need to save it even though we made no changes so that we can go ahead and close it back up. We also have up here in the upper right this button for editing here, which brings us to the exact same place. We also have the sync button, which will, like it says, it'll create a synchronized copy of this document library on your computer, so you can sync everything from this library right to your desktop. The follow button will allow you to go ahead and follow this site and other sites. We're not going to deal with this right now. We'll work with this when we go to our My Sites. We'll take a closer look at that. And share will also allow you to give other people who maybe don't have the permissions that you have to work on this site or access this site, you can go ahead and share those permissions with them. And then this button here, focus on content, just watch what happens when I click this one. It gets rid of your quick launch and your top bar navigation and just gives you the content that's on that page. And that's good if there's a lot of stuff on there and you need to really focus on it and you don't necessarily need all of this getting in your way. I like that feature. I think that's kind of neat. And again, all of this up here, we will deal with these things in a future lesson. We can see that I am signed in as myself. The About Me, that's also something we're going to deal with later, and I have the ability to sign out. Now, the button here I want to show you, and where we're going to go next, is Site Settings. Let's go ahead and let's click on this. We also have all of our editing features here. Edit, add an app. Shared with, it'll tell me who this page is shared with. Change the look. We're going to look at that in just a second. And site settings. This is what we want. We're going to go there, but also getting started. Look familiar? This will take us back to that place to get to those apps. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go to our site settings now. And these are your administrative site settings. And depending on your level of permission, you're going to see different things in here. Now remember, I am an administrator. I am a site collection administrator for this site. So I have all of the site settings available to me. I have permissions to do all of these things. If you're simply a user, you probably would have very, very little of these in here. Now there's a lot of things here, as you can see, and we are not going to go through all of them. It would take us weeks to explore all of the options, all of the things that we could do on this page. I'm just going to go through and give you the highlights, some real basic things that you want to probably know right out of the box in case you need to go ahead and just get started with your SharePoint site. So let's start at the very top with users and permissions. Let's go ahead and take a look at people and groups. And you'll see there are no items to show because we don't have any groups, but we can go ahead and set up groups of team site members with various permissions. And you'll see that there are already groups created. And notice that myself and Jennifer Owens are the operations owners. And there are more options here for these individual groups. And you can go ahead and add people from your company to these groups. In fact, let's go ahead and let's do this now. Let's go ahead and let's add Jerry Watts. And we can even send him an invitation. So now Jerry is an operations member, and we see that as a member of the members group that he has contribute permissions to the SharePoint site, whereas owners like myself and Jen Owens, we have full control permissions. And you see the level of permissions here for each one of these groups. And these permissions can be edited, and you can create new groups as well, obviously by going to Edit or New. All right. Get back here, Site Permissions, and you can grant individual users permissions to the site here as well. And like it says, some content on this site has different permissions from what you see here. And if I go ahead and show it, the microfeed has different permissions. And you can check the permissions this way. For each individual user or group, you can see what level of permission they have. And if you wish to add a group, it needs to be a security group or a mail-enabled security group. It simply cannot be a distribution group. Site collection administrators, we can go ahead and add additional site collection administrators here. And remember, I only have these permissions because I am a site collection administrator for this site. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the look and feel, title, description, and logo. We can add or change the title. We can give the site a description. Let's go ahead and do that. We can add a logo if we choose. This is our logo now. If we had a company logo, company graphic, which we do. So let's go ahead and import it from our computer by clicking that button. Browse for the file. It's actually in our pictures folder. There it is. Choose OK. Awesome. And we can go ahead and enter in a description. And look at that. Excellent. Quick launch. That will go ahead and allow us to add links to other sites, other pages, other apps in our SharePoint here on the left side, quick launch. You see it's pretty obvious here, pretty self-evident what we can do here. Top link bar will go ahead and allow us to add links along here. Tree view will simply go ahead, we'll have them both. We'll give you the site content tree view, directory tree, and I have them both. So it's the quick launch and the tree view. I don't like to have both. I want to have one or the other, but you can do it either way. And change the look. Now change the look gives us out of the box themes that we can apply to our page. So if we went with something like this, try it out, it's going to go ahead and change the whole look of our team site. Yeah, not exactly what I wanted, but that's okay. It gives us that option. And right off the heels of that, we have web designer galleries, and this is going to go ahead, and I'm not even going to touch this because you could do a whole course just on how to go ahead and design the look and feel of your SharePoint site. So we'll leave that up to the designers. Site actions. Now, the only thing I really want to go ahead and show you in here is the manage site features. And again, this is one of these things that we're not going to go into in this course, but eventually this is probably something you're going to need to know. You're going to need to know where these are. Remember all of our service apps that we went ahead and we looked at all of those? Quite often, you're going to need to turn those things on. And this is where you're going to do some of that kind of stuff. And as you can see, all the different options here, you can see where you need to go to activate or deactivate those individual features. You also have the ability to save this site as a template and delete this site, as well as a couple of other things. Site administration. Let's take a look in here at site libraries and lists. and you'll see that we can go ahead and remember when we set up our email, we had to go into that document library and configure our incoming email settings. Does this look familiar? It's just another place to get to the same thing. It's just the settings, library settings, list settings. It's just getting at that through here rather than through the library or list individually. We also have in here regional settings, which are things like the time zone, user alerts, where we can go ahead and, like it says, manage alert settings for the site, RSS feeds, sites and workspaces, another place to go ahead and create subsites and workspaces, things like document workspaces, workflow settings, site closure and deletion if we're going to get rid of one, term store management, and we've seen this before, haven't we? And of course, trends as to which content is being accessed. And search, we have all kinds of advanced search tools. We also have the site collection administration section here. Now again, remember, this is only available to me because I am a site collection administrator. Your site members, site owners would not necessarily have these unless you've given them elevated permissions. And in here we have the recycle bin, which is the site collection recycle bin, not the individual site recycle bin. We have again more search settings, site collection features, and let's go ahead and here, very much like we saw with the feature activation, again more things in here that you'll need to activate or deactivate depending on your needs. And that was site collection features, and that along with the manage site features is probably one of the most important administration features that you're going to need. Now, you can see the rest of these. We're not going to go into any of these. You can see the kind of things that are there. But pretty much any administrative setting that you're looking for in a SharePoint site or site collection, you're going to find here. You're going to access it through this panel. And I just wanted to make sure that you can see this, see where it is, know the kind of things that we're looking for. And remember, what you see here is going to be dependent upon your level of permissions. All right, and that is it for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.